Okay. Hello, welcome back everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time and coming to check this channel out. It means a lot to me because this is my opportunity to really give back after so many years of my personal development journey. And now I'm just at the cycle and the phase where I feel like I've actually cultivated something, and now I'm going to be putting it into content and putting it into these platforms so that now you may receive even more help, or not even help, but like more of a boost or an inspiration to keep going on your personal development journey. That's the idea behind why I'm doing all of this, why I'm creating the YouTube channel, and why I'm also creating the podcast as a source, or to encapsulate this positive, optimistic mindset. Because, like I said, on my personal development journey, I've struggled a lot with anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts, and it's all very real and even normal to some degree. I think there are just points in our life where we get to that, like where we're just broken down, and it's like, dang, like I feel so disconnected, I feel so helpless, I feel so lost. And when you don't have the right support group, it makes it even worse. And so that's my idea behind giving back to this community that I'm building, because I've been there and I still find myself in there sometimes. And what I do when I get into these heavy places is I get on YouTube and I find my favorite inspirational, motivational people, because all I need is just this reminder that there is possibility out there, that there is liberation that's available to me. And I just need that reminder. So let this content, let this platform, let this journey that I am embarking on, let this be that for you. You know, that is my intention, is to create this space so that you can know you can always come to and find a little bit of a piece of yourself in here, and just remind you that this life is worth it, and you just needed the reminder. So without further ado, let's actually get into the core of what we're going to be talking about today, which is creative control. This is huge because, man, it's October 2020, and man, like, everybody knows that this year has been pretty hard. Well, it wasn't until this last week where I finally got this sense, for the first time in my 25 years of living, that I actually felt and experienced this creative control, right? And it came to me I'm a very visual guy, so it comes to me in a lot of imagery, and it comes to me in a lot of sensations and feelings, but there's a lot of visualizations that happen. And the vision was, I was in the bathroom looking at myself in the mirror, and I looked myself in the eyes, and it was if it all clicked. Like, it was as if I was so aware of this consciousness that we are all a part of, and I felt like a supercomputer. Like, I really got to experience what felt like a holographic experience. Like, I felt like I was witnessing my awareness. Like, I was completely detached from Troy. And in that, I saw this super consciousness is what is creating this reality that I'm witnessing. And it told me that you're creating all of this, Troy. All of it. And I sat there and I was thinking and talking to myself, even the bad stuff, like even anxiety and depression. And it was like, yes, like even that too. And then you have to ask yourself, I had to ask myself, why? Why would I create this? Why would I create this anxiety? Why would I create this depression? And the answer was, well, I didn't create it to hurt you, right? We don't create anxiety and depression to hurt ourselves, even though it does hurt. That's not the intention. The intention behind anxiety and depression, from what I felt from this experience, was it's there to wake us up. It's there to shake us. It's there to say, hey, this thing that you're trying to do, you're not supposed to be doing that. And it acts as an opportunity to relax, to surrender, to accept who you are. And I have struggled with that immensely this year. I have resisted so much of my process this year. And I'm so thankful for this experience that really liberated me, really took me to the next level that said, Troy, you're gonna die. You're in control. You are gonna die. And the biggest thing that I can remember it saying as well, says, when you come back to this reality, when you come back into the body, no more suffering. And I just sat there looking at myself, saying this out loud like I am right now. I said, no more suffering. And I met my eyes in the mirror as I said that, and it was like, that's a huge responsibility. And in that moment, I was like, that seems like a lot. I don't want to take on that. I don't want the responsibility that I'm in control. And that's why I'm anxious. And that's why I'm depressed. That's why I get suicidal thoughts, because it's so heavy. Because it's too much responsibility. But, you're gonna die. And you're gonna be in this body anyway. So, have fun. Instead of taking this responsibility and making it so overbearing, so heavy, why don't you just have fun and go back to what it really means to be creative? I mean, what do you think of when you hear the word creative? Right? You think of artists, or I think of artists, I think of kids. I think of God, source, energy. I mean, that's the ultimate creator, right? Creating this entire experience. And we are connected to that. We are connected to, like, the reason why we are alive is to create. We have been created in the image of a creator. So we are here, no matter what you believe, we are here to create. Whether that's misery, whether that's good company, whether that's to create a masterpiece, whether that's to create art, whether that's to create a business. We are here because we as humans get to complete the circuit from this divine etheric information floating around the cosmos, and it's available. And as it comes into this physical third dimensional reality, we're able to, as long as we're open, as long as we're open, that information can come in, travel through the body, work through our minds and through our thoughts, and then we get our heart involved in it, we get this passion going, and we start propelling these thoughts that have been given to us. We propel, and then we build, and then now it's here forever. And it's like we get to complete that circuit. We get to make the highest ideals possible here. creator energy. You have creative energy, and you might be just using it to create depression and anxiety. And again, it's like, goes back to what we just talked about at the very beginning. Why would we do that? Why on earth would we, why on earth would we create anxiety and depression? The answer to that is very subjective, and it's very specific to you and to me. Because in the process of uncovering that question, we find the purpose to our lives. We find the meaning to our lives. But the essence is still the same. You're creating it. So what do you do with this information? Like, okay, cool, Troy, I'm a creator and I'm here to create, but that doesn't stop the anxiety and the depression. Okay, you're creating that too. I mean, it's like you can't get away from the feeling that this is your responsibility. And it's not a heavy responsibility unless you create it that way. But it is a gift. And I think that's why we love people who can express themselves fully, because they take this gift of choice, of free will, and they create something that's so authentic that we know cannot be duplicated. And it's so original. And we look at that and say, man, I want to be like that guy. I want to do what that guy's doing. But it's like we don't even realize, and I'm speaking from experience. I mean, this is the thing, this is my personal development that I've lived. We think that, or I thought that, if I'm going to be or have this good feeling, I got to do what that guy's doing. What is that guy doing? Oh, he's selling real estate. Oh, I just got to sell real estate and I'm going to feel really good because that guy's doing it and he looks really happy. That's half true. He's selling real estate because it makes him happy. If I sold real estate, it wouldn't make me happy because it doesn't make me happy. Just an example. It's coming back to, why are you here? You're here to create. What are you here to create? And it's so subjective. It really is. And another big message I got in this vision is, and this is kind of, this is like the bread and butter for me. This is the best part of it all, what I'm about to say. That you could mess up. You quote, air quotes, you could mess up for the rest of your entire life, and you would still be loved. There is nothing that you can do better to gain more love, and there's nothing you can mess up that will take that love away. How beautiful and empowering is that? That fills me with so much freedom to express myself. That every act will just be out of this expressive nature, not out of this shameful nature. It's like, why do you like personal development? Why do you want to develop your personality? Why do you want to develop your soul? Why do you want to develop? Why do you want to evolve? Is it because its roots are that you hate yourself? That you need to change to this ideal self because it's better than who you are now? From one perspective, yes, your ideal self is better than what you are right now. Like, who you want to become is better. But what if I told you that who you are right now is the best that you can be? If right now is the best that you can be, why steal that joy by thinking you need to be your ideal self? That ideal self will be here, and it is there. You are that person. Like, the person you're becoming and the person that you are going to be the same person. And you're always going to be, even though things change, even though you evolve, but the essence of you is still the same. You're still creating it. You have that creative control, that creative power to be anything that you want to be. So everything that you are right now, you created it. And everything that you're going to be in the future, you created it. That ideal self that you have, that you're working to become, you created it. Love it. Like, why don't we change the script of, we want to evolve, we want to grow to get closer to our truth, not to distance ourselves from it, not to run away from who we actually are, but to get closer. Because every time we learn something new, every time we gain a new craft, every time we build upon our old craft, and we cultivate our crafts, and we learn new skills, and we become more and more and more, we're always our best self. Basically, you can't fuck this up. And shame and guilt is telling you otherwise. Shame and guilt is taking you away from feeling joy. I think for the longest time, my journey has been, I need to improve. And my intention was good. I thought it was good. I thought, if I improve and I improve, I will be better. I get to feel better. And because I was coming from that place that if I did something, that I would feel better inside. Because I was coming from that place, I was always chasing. It's an addiction. The feeling would come for a little bit, but then it would fleet. And I could never capture this feeling that I wanted. That's because I'm trying to capture it instead of create it. You see? And that's what this vision is about right now. And I think it speaks to me personally for a reason, because I think there are many more people who are about to benefit from these words. We are in creative control. And if you haven't figured that out, if you haven't got to experience that, that's okay. There's a reason that you've created. Like, I made a post the other day that was like, we are the ones searching, and we're also the same ones that get to say, okay, I found it. The hardest part about this journey to self-love is like receiving the frickin' love. We fill ourselves with these self-limiting beliefs that say, no, you're not worthy. No, you're not there yet. Stop. You're letting yourself off easy. Like, no. You don't just get to feel joy. We're not taught. We're programmed that way. In these shame and guilt, when we talk about program, we talk about this computer concept, this holographic reality. If we are this supercomputer, so intelligent that we can create this reality from thoughts and feelings and I lost my train of thought. Right, the computer. If we're this computer, then shame and guilt would be the bugs or the viruses. And sometimes we don't, like, I think for the longest time I used to think that I had to gain more knowledge. I had to keep learning. I had to keep finding more things and adding it in here. But I never addressed the glitches and the bugs and the viruses in my computer. I just wanted to add more because I thought, okay, if I add more, like, shit'll just work. Well, what happens when you keep downloading new programs onto a computer that barely has enough space and has a shit ton of like bugs wrong with it? It's gonna crash. It's not gonna run properly or smoothly. So the analogy there is, instead of thinking you need to learn more from other people, right? Like, take a step back and think about, who are you right now? Who are you right now? What do you have right now that you can be grateful for? And once you start experiencing that gratefulness, it's almost like that's how you clean out the bugs. Because you don't need to add more value to yourself to be valuable. You need to get rid of the things that are telling you that you're not valuable. And that's this guy. That's your creator. In here, you're creating this story. Why? Ask. Ask yourself. Get into dialogue. Why are you creating this? It might take years to uncover, but that's okay. Every bit of progress is celebrated. That's why you hear these personal development people talk about all the time. Let's get comfortable with our process. Let's get comfortable with the fact that we're not getting to our ideal self tomorrow, baby. Think about that. Like, enjoy the process. Because when you get to your ideal self, however long that takes, on that road, you've already created a new ideal self. So once you get there, you're not even going to remember that, oh yeah, this is where I wanted to be all along. Because we're always adding more, always wanting to grow, which is awesome. But equally, don't forget to appreciate who you are today, who you are in this moment, who's watching this video, who's listening to this podcast. Don't forget that you're valuable right now and you don't need to add anything else. You just need to get rid of the shit that says otherwise. Because from that space, you are the ultimate creator. You are open and clean and free of worry and doubt. You're just creating. Every thought you have, every word you say means something. And when we are disconnected from ourselves, when we feel shame and guilt, we don't get to experience that creative energy. Everything we say sounds wrong. And we just get smaller and smaller, and our posture just gets weaker and weaker, and we develop chronic issues, and we start feeling ill. But when we remove that shame and that guilt, nothing's wrong with me, even though there is. Like, whatever's wrong with you, you're creating it for a story, for liberation. It's like we create this contrast so that we know what we freaking want. It's what the contrast is what makes what we want relative, because we say, okay, we don't want this. What's the 180 direction from that? I want to have this. And we find our way in the middle to be balanced and grounded. Right? And that's it. That's the message today, is you could do everything wrong forever and still be loved. Let that fill your heart, knowing that you get to be the creative controller of your life. And on this process, I hope you continue to forgive yourself for the stories that you've created if you feel like they're not worth it anymore. Forgive yourself for those stories you created about yourself that make you feel less than what you are. Because once you get in touch, once you feel and experience that fullness of who you are, who you know you are, you're going to ask yourself, why would I create any suffering ever again? And in those moments, forgive yourself. Because it led you to here. It led you to liberation. It led you to ecstasy. Do not hate your contrast, but realize you created it. And this is just one big freaking dream. And it's one big game, and you can't screw it up. You can't screw up what you created. It's all you. And that's all that it ever will be, is you creating these stories and these beliefs. Can't mess this up. And you're filled with so much love. So mold it and form it into your most beautiful creations and share them with the world. Because the more that you share your beauty, your love, your peace with the world, PEACE, your peace with the world, the more the world is molded by that. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I'm so excited to start this journey. I'm so excited to be on this journey, to help inspire you, to help be a source of inspiration and source of positivity. That is my goal. My goal is not to preach. My goal is only to share what I've learned in the way that I know how, which is just through massive amounts of compassion, reminding you that you are seen, heard, felt, and realized here. You must do that for yourself. We must do that for ourselves. And if you could use this content to remember that about yourself, watch this and feel it. This is my heart to you. This is my heart to this entire place. I trust you feel that. Take care, and I will talk to you and see you soon.